Welcome back to Edgework here on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Today is Wednesday, April 12th, the final Wednesday of the regular season. We got 2 days left. A lot of teams finishing up here. They got one game left on their schedule. We're looking at a couple here tonight who do still have 2 games remaining on their schedule. We'll finish that up over the course of the next 3 days. And here on the Edgework show, we will have playoff previews and everything like that once we start to get some of these matchups settled in. But it's kind of interesting as we've gone down the stretch. We had a few teams locked into their playoff spots from very early on. We had one matchup locked in from basically December, and now we're into the point here where it's actually kind of turned out to be kind of an interesting finish to the season, Moretto. Like, we have actually a couple teams that we don't know who they're going to play and how that's going to finish out. So at least we have that for drama to talk about down the stretch of the regular season.
A couple. I'm trying to plan these series preview videos. I'm like, I literally can't schedule a single one except for the Leafs Tampa. Like, we have no one is slotted into their places right now. It's wild.
Well, I mean, I almost did the Leafs intro like that I do for my Leafs show starting off the show here today. So I think you would have killed me if I did that, but
I would have been out. Well, it would have been fine. I would have just got my morning back.
we're still excited, riding high off of the Leafs win last night. I think so money as well, but we'll have a bunch of things to talk about here during the course of today's show. Not so much in terms of the games tonight, as not the most interesting or exciting games on tonight's schedule, but if you do have questions about tonight's games, you have your own bets that you're looking at, or you've placed already and you're wondering our thoughts on them, please feel free to fire them in the chat there as well. While you're watching right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button on the Edgework HQ YouTube channel. Make sure to like this stream while you are watching. As So Money always says, smash the like button. Very easy to do, takes 2 seconds. Help support the show here and help us continue to do content, so we will continue to do that. But a few things on today's schedule, including the games for tonight. We'll look at the Norris Trophy conversation, debating Erik Karlsson there. Maybe we'll get into some Oilers talk. I mean, I'm sure that'll make So Money happy. But Alex, let's start right away with the games tonight. And if people want to track the picks that we've given out through the course of the show this year, you can go and find those on the Edgework HQ account in the BetStamp app, which you can find on iOS and Android, as well as on the web. You'll go there and you look up Edgework HQ in the Find Better section. You'll see very pretty sitting up top there, plus 429 win, of course, for Matt Russell's Blackhawks last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins, keeping the Isles in the hunt here tonight for their game. But of course, we found that 429 by line shopping, and we think the easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Make sure to download the app today, where you can find that iOS and Android, as well as signing up on web. If you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, you see a book here today that we talk about that you don't have yet, or you see a book that has crazy odds. Like yesterday, we saw one of the books hanging minus 714 on the Pittsburgh Penguins money line to win against the Blackhawks, and you think, oh, wow, I would have liked to bet Pittsburgh, but that price was a little ridiculous. Well, you could have hopped over and found minus 475 somewhere else. And if you don't have that book that's hanging minus 475, then you can sign up for it by using betstamp.app/edgework or using the link in the description. All signing up through those books using that link helps support the show. So Moretto, let's get into the games here today before we talk about some of the extracurricular stuff we have going on in the chat, as well as some of the other things we have prepared for today. But starting with your Montreal Canadiens on the road tonight at the New York Islanders. The Habs coming into this are 4-6 in their last 10. Their last game was on Saturday night in a loss to the Leafs there. They're 14-23-3 on the road, facing off against the Islanders here, who are coming into this one with some desperation. Islanders are looking to clinch a playoff win here tonight with a win. They're 1 point up on Pittsburgh as it stands. They both have one game left. 5-4-1 in their last 10, and this team is 24-13-3 at home. Now we are looking at a big price here yet again tonight, minus 357. Do you have any thoughts on a huge price here for the Islanders? Does this make sense coming into this game, especially including the desperation factor? And on the flip side, the Habs likely more inclined to want to lose games from an organizational perspective than win games in their final few to close out the regular season.
The whole like tanking thing Montreal wanted to lose, I think that's more of a fans thing. Like maybe some people like higher up in the organization,
fans and
like
GM,
yeah, right? Because like I mean, half these guys playing for Montreal tonight are AHL players that are like playing for contracts, playing for roster spots next year, whatever. Like this game means a lot to the guys that'll be out there on the ice. Islanders, I was like so disappointed on Monday night when they lost, and I thought it was over for them because I really do want to see them make the playoffs. I know I'm kind of in the minority there. I think a lot of people don't want to see them in. I'm the type of guy who absolutely loves like seeing a goalie get just like scorching hot and steal a series, or at least make series interesting. And like, you know, you're getting caved in, like outshot 45-15 every night, and somehow, you're hanging around forcing a game 7. I think that if the Islanders can make the first wild card, if they can leapfrog Florida, they'll play Carolina. And, we'll get into these series previews, but I think that the Isles will give them a serious run for their money. That would be a fun series.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the Islanders can clinch with a point tonight, though. I think they only...
Is it just a point because they have the regulation win?
They have the regulation. They have 4 more regulation wins. So, yeah, they will 1 point, and they are in the playoffs tonight.
Yes, correct.
And we saw it last night with Pittsburgh. We see it every year where like these teams have these must-win games. Like just because they must win does not mean they do win. It's always like a lot more tense, and these guys always make it, way less straightforward than it should be. You're holding your stick a little tighter. There's so much at stake. Whereas you have this team coming in playing loose, just looking to play spoiler, like doesn't really matter for them. It's always like they're like these banana peel games where like I think the Islanders ultimately get what they need from this one, but like plus 1.5 on Montreal, like plus 123. I kind of like that. Just like, and it's very narrative-y and whatnot. But like, I mean, honestly, I think it's honestly not narrative-y too, though, because just based on price, like this Isles price is entirely down to the fact that they have to win this game. I mean, if this was like a regular game in like the middle of January, this would not be, they would not be minus 368. They wouldn't be minus 390, 385 across the board. Like no chance. You're looking more at like minus 250, maybe minus 240, whatever. So like, yeah, I think that there's also value here. And like, just because they have to win this game does not mean they're going to go out there and win 6-1.
Yeah. All right. So we'll lock in the plus 1.5, plus 123 here for the show. Alex, I'm kind of curious. You brought up there, okay, yeah, the price is this because they have to win this game. I think they are in a little bit of different points in their season in terms of just how the two teams are playing as well. So that's kind of where you're going to see some of that distance. But how much do you like really feel the price gets influenced by desperation, whether it be the books setting a line, the people betting into the line to shape the market? Like how much of that actually is determined and pushed and influenced by desperation for an Isles team, where people are looking, saying, hey, they have to win tonight, they have to do this, they have to get a point, and then they start betting Isles money line, it starts getting pushed. Like, where, if you were to just kind of even say like a guess of how much that gets moved and influenced?
Quite a bit, because like I think that it starts with the bookmakers who are setting these lines, and like they're not. It gets baked in right from the start, right? You're not setting just like a
Yeah.
standard line like you would for a regular game in January. Like that definitely plays a bit of a part. So you're getting a bit of an inflated line right to begin with, and then everyone's seeing it. Everyone is throwing it into their parlays. Everyone's throwing it into like everyone's betting it. Everyone's -1.5. Like, oh, they need to win -2.5. Like, Brock Nelson anytime goal. This guy anytime. Like, it's just like Sorokin shutout. Like, it's just like, and it just gets pounded into oblivion. Then the liability is so high for the book that they have to keep moving the line. So like, yeah, I think it's like significant how much of that is baked into what the current price is. And you see it in every sport. Like we see it in football in like week 18 where a team has to win and like they're like favored by like 9.5 points over like a team that they would never be favored by that much over in a regular Sunday. Same thing in like baseball late in the season. Like there's so many instances of this like across all sports. I don't follow the NBA whatsoever, but I can just imagine that it's the exact same thing there. So like, it definitely comes into play, and I'm sure we'll see it a bunch tomorrow too. Like we saw it last night with Pittsburgh. Like, what has Pittsburgh done lately? I mean, okay, the Blackhawks are especially bad, but like, what has Pittsburgh done this season to warrant laying 520 against an AHL team? That's insane. The Penguins have been brutal, and they're gonna be -520 favorites over anyone. That's wild, man. I wouldn't take them over my men's league team at -520.
Yeah, I know that price was absolutely absurd when we saw that come up yesterday. The second I saw that price pop up on the screen, I knew that we were gonna have a bet, and I knew Matt was gonna be the one taking.
Oh, I knew that the day before. The day before when we announced Matt was coming back from vacation, I'm like, it's gonna be an hour show. He's gonna bet every big underdog. Like, just
it was an hour show.
Yeah. You don't even have to watch. You just know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see here in the chat, Jordan Moso saying draw season. Well, taking a look here at the odds and where this one's at on it, +430 for regulation time draw. Would you have any interest in that at all? I know that the regulation time, the draws isn't something we've like done too much outside of Alex B. Smith, who's done them. But where would you be at kind of looking at that price?
I have no idea how to like price those or anything like that, so I'm not sure. But I also think that from a narrative perspective, like I think that makes a lot of sense. Like if we're talking about like a tight game late, I mean it can get to a point where like the Islanders are, it's 2-2 or 1-1 late in the game. Like no chance the Islanders are taking any risk to go and win the game in regulation when they know a point will get them in the playoffs, right? Like you could see like one of those really like tame sort of third periods where they're just kind of going through the motions. Sorokin maybe has to like come up with a couple big saves because of the fact that they're playing so cautious. Like if you're in a tense game, if you're in a close game in the third period, then I think that's like super, super live at that point. I think that we won't see the Islanders like take any chances trying to like, what's the point in winning a regulation for them, right? It makes no difference. So Florida has the tiebreaker over them. So the only way that they could leapfrog Florida is if Florida gets 1 point from their last game and the Islanders win, in regulation. They have to win in regulation tonight, and then the Panthers get 1 point. That's the way they win a tiebreaker. Otherwise, obviously, if like they just get if they win in regulation, shootout, overtime, whatever, and Florida loses in regulation, then the Islanders will leapfrog them. But there's no reason for them to push late in this game. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I see here some more generic questions in the chat, and so many obviously bringing up the Oilers. We're gonna save all those till the end after we wrap up the game previews for tonight, and then we'll go through the stuff in the chat. So if you do have questions, like generic questions about prices or how to bet playoffs and things like that, we can kind of answer some of those towards the end of the show. Those will be some things that we can wrap up with, but we're not ignoring them. It's more just we'll leave it to then and then do it all at once. Let's move on to, also actually, by the way, just Moretto, I don't know if you saw this, but so money saying here, Leafs versus Islanders Eastern Conference Final.
I love so money so much. But if he keeps tweeting, "We are all Leaves" at you, I'm going to have to mute him and you on Twitter until the Leafs are officially out of the playoffs in 2 weeks. Okay. That's just where I'm at right now in my life.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can understand that. Last night I prompted him to do it. I asked him for the tweet. I tweeted at him saying, say the line. All right, next game here. In terms of significance, it's not too much. Although that being said, Dallas does have an opportunity as they currently sit second in the Central. Them and Colorado both have 2 games remaining. They're a point back of Colorado, so you could hop them in the standings wise. Here you do have 4 less regulation. You have 3 more regulation time wins for Dallas on the season as well so far to this point. So any wins that they can get, they could possibly find themselves ahead if Colorado come down to start of playoffs here. But currently sitting second, they are 7-2-1 in their last 10. They're on a 4-game win streak coming into this one, being pretty good on the road so far this year, 24-11-5, facing off against the St. Louis team, 6-3-1 in their last 10. The last game was a loss to Minnesota, 5-3, and now looking at this here, minus 156 for Dallas on the road tonight against St. Louis. Would you have any plays in this game? Is there any way that you would look at this one where you could be enticed to have a bet tonight?
I don't have any bet here. Like I kind of want to get on St. Louis, but yeah, like Dallas does need this, and like the motivation will be there. Like you don't have to worry about that. They're gonna want to win the division. Like the difference between playing, well, I mean, honestly, how big is the difference between playing Minnesota and playing like Seattle? It's not massive.
Yeah.
I guess the big thing would be like potentially home ice in the second round, which is probably, I think, a lot more. You're going to want to play for that more so than you will that first round matchup, because I don't think that matters either way.
Yeah.
I would rather play Seattle. I think Seattle's kind of a fake team. But yeah, you're not going to look at it that way. So
too.
Yeah, big goaltending difference. Yeah. I would rather just the experience factor too. Like they just don't quite have it. I think there've been a little smoke and mirrors this year. Yeah, I just don't have a play on this game though. Like they need it, but I'm not willing to kind of bet it at this price. I don't mind how the Blues have been playing. They're like they're playing for pride. They're taking things seriously. They're not just laying down and getting steamrolled every night. So I don't mind it. If this like keeps getting, again, like with the whole like Dallas needing to win thing to win the division, if this price keeps getting like driven up maybe over the course of the day, and we end up getting something like, I mean, and it was bet down earlier, so I'm not sure if that will be the case, but like if money does pour in throughout the day on Dallas and we get like a plus, 155, 160 on St. Louis. I know there's a plus 150 on SIA right now, but
Right.
That's less, I don't know if they'll take my $3 bet. So if we can get like a regular like plus 150 somewhere, I think that's a decent look. That's maybe where I'd end up, but I'm not really betting Dallas here.
Yeah, and just for people out there, if you are in Canada, then you will have that open to you. That a plus 150 is available. I'm not sure, like Moretto said there, how much you might be able to get down on it, but it's there. And relative to market, it is a good 10 cents better than the next best price that is widely available for people. So you can check that out. But yeah, and I see here Jordan Moso saying Hofer versus Wedgwood expected. I see Wedgwood was confirmed, Hofer likely, but yes, okay, no plays in that one. And then final game of the night, San Jose at Calgary. Quite literally a game that means nothing. Calgary finally eliminated from playoff contention. They just couldn't find ways to get it done all year long. They basically lost, I think I was looking at it the other day, they lost an opportunity to have like 30-something points just by losing in overtimes and shootouts throughout the course of this year. Like there was a tremendous amount of points lost for them on this season in extra time. The Calgary Flames basically kind of choked this one away with those opportunities, and you get yourself into the position like that, well, it's going to be much harder to get yourself into a playoff spot. Now, 6-2-2 in their last 10. They are on a 2-game losing streak at home here tonight against San Jose. San Jose on a 4-game losing streak. Calgary favored minus 233. Is this a fair price for Calgary here tonight, Moretto?
Just like, I mean, are they going to show up and like, now that the pressure's off and they're done, they're just going to come out and win this game for the sake of it and whatever, nothing matters now? Or are they going to just like, how do you show up to the rink after getting officially eliminated from playoff contention and like expect to play a game like that? I have no idea what to expect from Calgary tonight. They've been such a weird team all year. it's San Jose or nothing. There's no chance I'm laying anything with Calgary in this game. This could be a case where, like, if you want to get a little like frisky, I would even look at like a Sharks -1.5 if you're going to have like the Flames just completely come in and lay down and not care whatsoever about this game. Like, because there is a chance that they come in and just fully don't give a shit about being on the ice tonight, and that, reflects in the final score. So, like, if you want to have some fun late in the season here, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
Like my Blackhawks -1.5 last night. Wasn't
Did you lay
officially
it?
locked in, but I said, yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hawks
All
minus
right.
1.5. Don't worry. I said, watch out for that one.
Don't worry about
and
it.
then after I came back and I texted one of my buddies, I said, Jay, just so you know, I'm going Hawks. I had obviously the Hawks money line there. I thought that price is just way too far out. So it was a little bit of just a smaller bet on that. And then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going in on this one. I'm committing. I think because part of it to me too was like, if the Hawks are winning, Pittsburgh's obviously going to be desperate. We're going to see a goalie pull. I didn't know if I could trust the skill on the Hawks to be able to convert on an empty net. I was like,
these guys are still NHL players. Let's keep that in mind. They're still NHL players.
Well, some of them. I mean, did you look at the Hawks roster yesterday? There was some names I have never seen before in my life popping up. But yes, I'm not trying to disrespect. But yes, it was interesting. But yeah, I had the -1.5, so I felt good about that. But yeah, you can check that out. Like Jordan Mosel saying, your abs -1.5, Sharks -1.5, locked in, loaded. There you go. That's a good way to have fun with this one tonight. But so we do have one official bet. Oh, sorry, put that back up.
Yeah, my bad. This is true too. Dustin Wolf is going to be playing tonight for Calgary, so that'll be interesting to see. I think he's he's 21 years old. I don't know like a ton about him other than that. He's got red hair. I know that. He's a good goalie though. He's having a heck of a season in the AHL. So he's going to make his NHL debut. So he'll be motivated at least, that'll be fun to see him play. Is Sutter going to, get out off the ice on the first period and in the locker room and just completely ream him for letting in like a soft goal early on and just completely shatter this kid's confidence? Like, that's also a possibility. And then, hey, San Jose -1.5 is back in play. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, that would be interesting to follow. I don't know. Tonight's going to be more of a quiet night in the NHL for me. I'll tune into the Isles game, see how those guys are doing, maybe trying to watch Dallas and see what's up with them and Jason Robertson, how he looks to close out the season. But otherwise, it's not going to be too much of an intent NHL watch night for me tonight. But Moretto, we do have here, we'll recap the picks, and then we have a couple things I want to get to close this one out. But starting here with our one and only pick of the night, and if you want to see all the picks I've been given out on the show throughout the course of the year, again, you can find us in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. But one and only pick tonight, the Montreal Canadiens +1.5, +123 for a full unit. That is the Montreal Canadiens +1.5, +123 for a full unit. And here you go. So money saying, hopefully Sutter knows his name. Hopefully Sutter knows this kid's name tonight. That would be a bit embarrassing. Yes, that's for sure. But
maybe we have an official Edgework pick from the chat too. An over 6.5, I think, plus money in the Dallas St. Louis game.
All right, there you go.
It looks like it. There you go. If you were looking for an extra bet, then we could provide. You got one there.
Over 6.5 plus money currently available on Pinnacle there. You can obviously look around and find sixes over 6.5 +105 on Betway if you have access to those. And again, if you want to sign up for any of these sports books that you see here on screen, like this +105, that is even better than the +101 on Pinnacle. You can find that on Betway. And if you want to sign up, you can use the link in the description of this video or go to betstamp.app/Edgework. And so money saying grab those sixes. So there you go. You grab the sixes in that game. All right, couple things that were sent in the chat, some more generic stuff. I'm going to start so money. I mean, we talk about the Oilers every day, so we're going to push that one off. And you're on the show tomorrow. I know you're going to talk about the Oilers tomorrow. Like, there is 0% chance they don't get brought up. But we'll start with Mike Bromberg here asking, when it comes to playoff series betting, what type of bets do you guys feel are pro bets versus Joe bets? Alex, I'll start with you because I will be very honest with people watching it there. I have not really bet too many series stuff before. And when I did, it was more like getting into it myself. So it was introductory stuff for me, learning the ropes of series betting. And I did that last year. It's going to be something I do this year. I'm more game to game, props, that kind of stuff, futures if they're out there. So I'll leave this one to you to kind of discuss how to attack the market, pro versus Joe, maybe if you have an opinion on that as well.
Oh, sorry, I just
Some
had
music playing. We're getting
a
some
video
copyright
from
strikes everywhere.
I had another video from another tab that just started playing like in the background. It just scared the shit out of me. Okay. Pro versus Joe bets. I don't think that like they fully exist when it comes to series betting. Limits aren't like crazy high for those type of bets like they would be on a game to game basis. So I'm just not sure how much of that I consider like pro versus Joe. But like one thing I do like to bet a lot that I see kind of getting good prices on usually just because I think that there's a lot of people betting the other way. So maybe that can, factor into this. I'm not necessarily considering myself a pro here where it's like a pro versus Joe situation, but I know that a lot of people lay those like -1.5s all the time with these like big series favorites, these one seeds, whatever, -2.5 sometimes are like, juiced. You can get the +2.5, +1.5s a lot. Like I do that a lot. I did that last year with Dallas. I did that last year with LA. They both cashed against Edmonton and Calgary. And, I'll probably be, depending on who they play, like, and what the prices are, obviously, because we don't necessarily have prices yet, but I'll probably be doing that for the Islanders this year against Boston. Maybe if I can get a nice +2.5, and against Carolina, +1.5 for sure for me will be something I'll look at. So, like, I think that that's one angle that, you don't always have to just, like, look at the straight -350 series price. Oh, that's too much. So I'm going to take a -1.5 at, -170. Like there's often a lot of value on the other side of that. It's not, it's not so straightforward to just win a playoff series running away, especially when you have like those, those underdog teams are usually at home in game 6. And, you're getting a good price on the +1.5 when, they're going to be at home in a situation to keep the series alive. Like they're usually pretty good ways I like to look at things.
You want to know a dumb bet that I had last year in the playoffs?
Yes.
So I thought the Oilers were a fraudulent team just based on goaltending. I didn't think they had the depth, and I really didn't trust that defense that they had. And I thought, like, obviously McDavid is the best player, hands down. Like, that is not without question. And he was playing out of his mind last year in the playoffs. But I was like, I kept looking at it being like, man, I think that they're getting by based on McDavid carrying this, and I don't think that this can last. So I was kind of waiting to fade that. When they were going in the series against Colorado, I really thought to myself, like, I can't see them winning more than a game here. Like, I think Colorado cleans this up. So I had an exacta on the series at 4-1 Colorado. Game 4 comes around, and I found myself sitting there cheering for the Oilers to win. And I hated it because I did not want the Oilers to win, because I wanted it to, like, my point proven of, like, yes, they are this fraudulent team. So I'm sitting there, like, half cheering for the Oilers so that I can win the bet, because I thought Colorado would clean it up in the next game. But then, that kind of stung, because then you obviously get the sweep. And I looked at it after. I'm just like, what was I doing? What was that bet?
One other, actually, you know what? That reminds me. One other, you just mentioned something and that kind of triggered it. One other bet I love to make that is like typically a gold mine every playoffs, and it's hopefully going to be a gold mine again this year. Is just betting against the Leafs in Game 7. It's always it's all.
Come on.
Come on. I had to.
No, I will say this. It is just like a glitch. Like it's like you could just lock that. You could lock that in and then just run away with money every year. But yeah, I'll give you that. But when I first started betting, this is like story time for me, learning and being an idiot betting stuff. I've told the story on Circles Off if people listen to that. But the first year that I started betting, it was March Madness. The year John Morant was in the tournament with Murray State. The very first bet I ever placed was on Murray State to win that first game, and it was like some big plus money, and it won obviously, and I walked away from it being like, this is easy. Like I know how to do this. Like I can win money forever, whatever. I actually ended up that account, I can still honestly tell you I never had to redeposit from going bust in that account. I can tell you that honestly. But other accounts, not the same. That account, yes, I can tell you that. Bet365, the OG. And that year, I actually ended up winning a good amount of money, like leading up to the playoffs. Game 7, Leafs Bruins. I had like all these player props. I'm like Matthews, loaded up goals, like all this stuff. Leafs money lines. I had like half my account on Leafs money line. And I walked away from that one. Say I had like $150 in the account. I walked away from that game, just that game, with $5 in the account. And I was like, this is rough. Like, that was my first experience of like, what a mistake. Like, yeah. But then battled back with just like dollar bets, $2 bets, and won myself back out of that hole. So that was that experience. But it is what
I
it
bet
is.
you won't make that mistake again.
No, I actually have actively avoided betting on the Leafs in Game 7s. I just don't touch the game. I say I'll sit here and feel the pain just from fandom and not financially of these games because I don't trust them. So
yeah. I was talking to Feinberg about that on our watch along. I was like, I couldn't believe when he said he bets on the Chargers. Like, for those who don't know, Jeff Feinberg, diehard Chargers fan. He bets on the Chargers in the playoffs. I'm like, and he's like diehard, like you are for the Leafs, like I am for the Habs. I'm like, is that not like enough? For me, I know I lost my shirt and I didn't care. I was so happy when Montreal played the Leafs in the COVID year in the playoffs. I like at like stupid prices, like minus 220s, minus 190s, whatever. I unloaded on the Leafs every single game because the stress of like the thought of losing to the Leafs in the playoffs and like all my friends just like being in my ear forever. It was just so horrifying that I was like, I need at least something out of this. And I would gladly pay all that money again for the Habs to win that series. So,
fair enough. I'll tell you, I did not bet on that. And yeah, it's at least I saved myself from that because the pain that we felt otherwise and the pain that I felt from my friend, I have one friend who is like an active Habs fan. And I remember doing my post-game video for my Leaf show. And while I was trying to record it, I have him sending me Snapchat videos screaming at me, being like, Philly, you loser. Like, the Leafs suck. And I was just like, I'm already in enough pain, man. Like, I don't need this right now. But yeah, that was tough. Another question here from Mike Bromberg. Outside of futures bets at the beginning of the season, I avoid betting on the teams I follow. It never ends well. Yeah, I find that often it hasn't ended well. Like usually for the Leafs, even just single game bets for me, it's something where I try to avoid just because I know I have to sit and watch them. But unless you guys can talk me into something on the shows in the morning, then that's when I'm like, okay, fine, I'll get behind this one.
I'm a lot more
against the Bruins. That was tough.
I'm an emotional hedge kind of guy when it comes to my team. That's regular season, whatever. But like if there's like big games, I'm just going to blindly bet the other way. Doesn't matter what the price is. You could have given me Leafs minus 600 in Game 7. I still would have bet it just for the sake of not being able to live with it otherwise.
All right, let's wrap up the show here. I want to do one thing just for fun, just because we saw the Hawks win last night, and it pushes them out of that very bottom of the NHL there. And obviously in the NHL, the odds to get the first overall pick are very rooted in your place in the standings. And now with Montreal Canadiens in fifth last right now, fifth best odds to get Connor Bedard, Moretto, just for the fun of it. I do want to do an NHL draft lottery sim. If anybody wants to do these themselves, I'll just quick plug on this one, tankathon.com. It's fun. You can.
This is the official one. This is the official one.
Yes.
Come on.
One sim, and that's all you get. Here we go. Wow.
That was very unofficial. That doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Okay.
End the show.
All right, there you go. The Columbus Blue Jackets walking away with Connor Bedard, as it seems right now. But I just wanted to do that to close this one out as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season.
I want to ask you. I do want to ask you quickly before, just like purely your opinion. Where do you want to see Connor Bedard next year? Like, if you had a choice, like, and for me, I'll say like Montreal out of the equation. If that wasn't an option, whatever, where would you want him to go? For you, it can be an option, but I know you won't say that anyway. So,
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want him to go to Montreal, but it's more just because of like being a Leafs fan, what you'd have to hear about him. Like personal perspective, no. I think for the NHL, it would be good for him to be there in a Canadian market. Um, I'm looking at where it's at with like the lottery sim here and the teams that he could possibly go to. San Jose, no. Anaheim, no. I don't want to see him in those places because we're never going to hear about him. And their teams aren't going to be that good for a little while still, I don't think. Like, yeah, Anaheim could be fun with all the kids there, but I still think it'll be quiet. Arizona, probably not as well. I don't think I want to see him go there. I think narrative wise, it could be funny and I wouldn't mind it. I don't know that I want to see him go to a specific team, but I wouldn't mind it if he went to Chicago. I know that it's a little ridiculous, but like remember Sid and Malkin coming in and taking in the new era after who Yager and Lemieux kind of left through. They were the big two, and then Sid and Crosby kind of carried over and bridged that gap, and then they had success after the fact. I think there would be something kind of cool to it if he pushed in the new era of Chicago. And part of it is Chicago is a big market, but when that team sucks, their fandom kind of stinks. Like their coverage and everything there kind of stinks. And if you can at least give them some life of having that kid there, I think that would be kind of cool to have. I don't know. That's kind of the one team I look at that's in the bottom. And I think that would be kind of fun. Is there a team for you? Obviously, the Habs. You'd love for them.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if Montreal was out of the equation, for me it would be Chicago, an original six team.
Yeah,
like good market. Out of the East, which is always nice as well. I'd prefer to not have him in the Eastern Conference if we can avoid it. And it looks like, I mean, if he's going to come to the East, it's basically going to be Columbus or Montreal at this point. So,
yeah, I don't want to see him in Columbus. I do not.
No, I can't stand Zegras, so I don't want him. I don't want him in Anaheim either.
Yeah,
I just have no interest. I love Anaheim when they're good. Like their fans are awesome. I used to love those Getzlaf Perry teams. Like they were great. But I'm down for him to go to the Blackhawks. And I mean,
well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next.
There's a 3% chance. There's a 3% chance. I would be down for that. I would be very down for that. I just don't think it's realistic, just because how would they have like a 3.5% chance? But I would love to see him go home to play in Vancouver. That would be awesome. I know a lot of Canucks fans out there. I think that they're good fans. They're fun fans. They've been through a lot, and they're still going through a lot. So that would be cool. That would be cool to see him go to Vancouver.
I'm fine with him going to Vancouver too. That's one team I'm like, yep, I could be cool with that. I'm not going to actively root for him to go to Vancouver though, especially just still a Canadian team. It would kind of be like one of those ones, they're going to be on you all the time over it, but still, I think that would be a cool place for him to go. Is there one team here, to put it back on you now, that you would absolutely just hate for him to go? Like the worst possible team that he could go to?
Maybe Washington. I don't want him to go to Washington. I don't want him to go to Washington. Washington's had enough. They've just got Ovechkin for so long. Like, I'm not down for that. Columbus too. Like, I feel so bad saying that because like Columbus has done nothing wrong to anyone ever, but it's just like Columbus. Like, I don't know. Their fans are honestly awesome too. Even when they're not good, their fans are still like pretty awesome. But I just can't see them in Columbus. Like they just. All due respect to Columbus, they feel like such an irrelevant team. They felt like that for so long. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe Bedard is like the one who brings them to relevance, and then all of a sudden like puts Columbus fully on the map. But yeah, I don't want to see him in Columbus. What about you?
Well, if I'm going through Leafs lenses, it's Montreal because it's going to be sickening to have to like deal with that and hear that. Sure. But like as an NHL perspective, just general hockey. Again, like I said, I think it would be great for the NHL for him to be in Montreal. Like, actually incredible. I think one team to not continue to pile on would be I actually think Jordan Mo's onto something here with Philadelphia. I don't want to see him go to Philadelphia, but I think
Philly fans are awesome, though.
I know the Philly scumbags out there, though. I don't know. It would just be kind of annoying, but I think it would be low on my list. Arizona is the team I really don't want to see him go to. I just don't want to see that fan base, or that, not the fan base. It's not anything against the fans. It's the franchise. I don't want to see the franchise be rewarded from Gary's persistence of you got to stay there. Like it's kind of embarrassing that they're playing in a university arena and he's just force feeding this. This is a team who's quite literally racking up LTIR guys who are never playing again so that they can meet the cap floor. Like, they won't even spend to the floor, and we're sitting here watching teams, and I'm not saying this to like complain about the Leafs. Like, the cap is what it is. We're watching teams have to dance around the cap and do recalls and LTIRs to stay under it. You've got teams, like half the NHL is willing to spend over the cap. You're telling me the Habs tomorrow morning wouldn't spend over the cap to make their team better? Like, they would spend
with you.
$1 billion, right?
I'm so down to obliterate the cap.
Yeah, and it's here so that Arizona can stay relevant or stay in the league. And yet, despite the fact that he's made this a thing, like, I have a beef with Gary over this because it's nothing against the fans in Arizona, but it's not working. And he refuses to move it, continues to try to like force feed the situation, and putting Bedard there, I feel like is gonna like justify it to Gary, and I don't want that to happen.
Putting Bedard and Matthews there will be nice.
Oh
though.
my god, I will say honestly, like, I put legitimately like a 1% chance that he goes to Arizona.
Yeah,
like, there's a chance.
You're right, he's going
but
to LA.
Like, okay. I honestly think if he's leaving Toronto, it's LA or like the Rangers if they find a way. Like, it's not Arizona. He's not going to Arizona. I'm telling, like, I honestly believe that. It's like a 1%. But
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're worried about potentially Bedard going to Montreal, but like, I was worried about Matthews going to Toronto, but like, sometimes things just work out. Like, these, maybe these guys just aren't winners in the end. You never know what they're going to turn out to be. So
all right. Anyways, were you more worried about McDavid possibility to Toronto or Matthews possibility to Toronto? At the time.
McDavid. Definitely McDavid. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how are you going to feel when he comes to Toronto as a free agent?
That's whatever helps you guys sleep at night. Like, you guys can just, good for you. Keep telling yourself whatever you need to. It's all good. I'm happy for you guys. Guys.
Thanks. All right, that'll wrap up today's show. As we get into the playoffs here, we will have more videos coming out here on the channel talking about individual series bets, as Moretto talked about. We're going to break down each series, the prices, some of these other markets that we can look at in terms of spreads on series, player points. There's all those different things that'll pop up. So we'll give all those different bets out and preview each series as we approach the playoffs here, as we approach the start of those next Monday, April 17th. So very excited about that. So you can find that all here on the Edgework channel. But to everyone who followed along here today, the one bet we gave out, the Habs +1.5 +123 tonight against the New York Islanders. So that is our one and only bet for tonight. But thank you to everyone who watched the show today. Alex, thank you for hopping in here last minute. Appreciate you doing this. For everyone else, we will see Alex and So Money back here tomorrow morning at 10:30 Eastern time. And hopefully we will see you guys back here as well for more picks and previews as we wrap up the regular season. Good luck on your bets tonight.